Today, guys, I'm wearing a Crystal Palace shirt. Crystal Palace. Years ago, my big brother used to take me to Selhurst Park. This is not a joke. He was a major hooligan, a top boy at Crystal Palace. I'm not going to give out his name, but I went the other way. I played the game and I talked the game on radio, on TV, still do. So two different things, but this shirt, Crystal Palace, was bestowed upon me by my big brother, and I'm going to say it one more time. He was a major top boy hooligan at Crystal Palace in the 80s and the 90s and the early O's, and he has plenty of stories. I'm going to bring some hooligan stories on this channel, probably in a couple of weeks. Personal stories, what I've actually witnessed when I've been in the ground, and I'm not a hooligan, but I've witnessed some stuff, let me tell you. I've got some great stories coming to you, so stay tuned in the future for hooligan stories. And they're really on the money. But what I want to talk to you right now, wearing this lovely Crystal Palace shirt, and keep an eye on the screen, guys. It'll keep you guided as to where we're going. But Premier League, World Cup qualifiers coming up soon. The Premier League says, no, we will not allow Premier League players to go out the country to play for their nations. Or if they want to, then when they come back to the UK, they've got to serve a 10-day quarantine. The reason why is simply this. When you leave the country, you've got to go back. And when you go back, you've got to go into quarantine. And the problem with that is that when you go into quarantine as a club player, you're going to miss a few games. None of the clubs in the Premier League are going to look kindly on that. Hence, that's why they've said we're not going to allow players to travel to red zone countries. There's about 60 Premier League players that cannot go to red zone countries right now. But what I'd ask you to think about is, if the Premier League says, no, we don't want our players to leave, what about the Championship? What about League One, League Two? There's international players in those leagues. If you're just telling me only the Premier League is not allowed to go, I ask you a question. Really? Is it about COVID or is it about your business plan? We all know that the Premier League's losing money hand over fist. But the Premier League says no to their players leaving the country unless you want to do a 10-day quarantine. But no one's talking about the Championship, League One, League Two in the same way. Keep your eye on that, because if that is the way it is, that's not about health. That's total politics. That's business politics. That's got nothing to do with health. Anywho, Jamaica, all the countries in North America, Egypt, in the Middle East, a lot of countries in the Middle East, countries in South Asia as well, they're all going to be in the same position where big players won't go. Mo Salah cannot go to Egypt, yeah? Jamaica has a lot of good players in their team. They won't be allowed to get to Jamaica, and Jamaica's playing Mexico next week. It's absolute chaos. So again, I'm going to ask you, do you really think this is about the COVID and the quarantine, or do you really think it's about business and the clubs? I got my thoughts on it. You have the right to reserve your reasoning and also think about what you think. But you'll come up with it eventually. But is it business or is it COVID? I don't really know. Like I say, the quarantine for 10 days, that's what the players have got to do when they get back. FIFA came out with some bullshit. Oh, yeah, well, you know, when the players are not in the club and they've got to sit for 10 days quarantine, it will impact their fitness. What a load of crap. You're telling me you can't work out where you are? Give it up. FIFA, absolute garbage. Players can still train in their own time. I know, I've been there. I've seen it. I've done it myself. There's nothing awkward about it. Anywho, makes you scratch your head. Missing multiple games is the big part about this. They go away, they come back. It's not the quarantine that's the issue, it's the missing of the games. It's the weakening of the team. So you can see where the clubs are coming from. You can have a little bit of sympathy for the clubs, but don't tell me this is just about health, because it really doesn't resonate that it's health. It really does not. Mr. Infantino from FIFA, the boss, he even wrote to Boris Johnson to say, hey, Boris, can you do us a favour and just release these players? Sounds a little corrupt. Doesn't sit right with me. I hope it doesn't sit right with you guys. Once again, these players that won't leave, it's only because of the 10-day quarantine. If it wasn't for the 10-day quarantine, they'd fly out to their respective nations and play them games. It's about politics. It's about business. And I can't see that this is about health one little bit. Quarantine is the issue, not COVID. Let me tell you that. Now, not going to harp on too long about that, but there's some details about it. And I'd say to yourselves, take a look at it. Look at it yourself and see what you think. But again, business, not politics. Moving along now, happy subjects. Last week we had 90% on the prediction ratings in the soccer scores. Keep having a look. And hey, fill your boots. Follow my lead. Make some money. I put a little bit of a flutter on every week. And I do quite well throughout the year. So follow me. Take a couple of my scores. Just 3 of my scores each week and you're going to make money. I'm telling you, 3 of my scores, you will make money. Do that. So last week, 90%. Week before, 80%. And I got to say, I'm quite happy with the start. But the pressure's on. I got to keep good. Now, news about Harry. Harry Kane. Not going to Man City. When you saw him play against Wolverhampton Wanderers, I knew then he was staying at Spurs. It was obvious that he was staying at Spurs. You would not have let Harry Kane play in that game if Man City were coming to the table big time on Monday, Tuesday, that's just gone, to sign Harry. Harry played. You knew straight away he wasn't going to go to Man City. I'm happy that he hasn't. He's going to be a club icon, or he hates the living heck out of Daniel Levy and will leave in the summer. Watch that. Next summer, watch Kane possibly get on the train to Manchester and get out of Dodge. If he sticks to Spurs, he's going to give himself a few more good years in football, but he's not going to win anything. And a player with that quality, not to win anything? Are you kidding me? He's got to be playing on a big team. He should have signed for Man United, Man City, Liverpool or Chelsea, one of the 4, or go abroad. But one of the top 4 was where Harry needed to sign for straight away. He hasn't. It's history now. But watch for next summer. I know Harry's not happy. And I know Daniel Levy is absolutely over the moon. And if you want to create a club, Daniel Levy is the chairman that you need because he's not letting the top players go. But the top players will get pissed off and probably won't give as much in months to come. Watch that picture, Harry Kane. What's the season like for Harry? How many goals? What's the attitude? Does he sulk? Does he sort of go through a little bit of a depression staying at Spurs? Or does he be the man he is, play the game, bang the goals in, and earn another chance to get to Man City or somewhere else at the end of the season? I feel a little sorry for Harry. I think he's been disrespected because he's been a great servant for Spurs, but Spurs haven't really been a great servant in letting him go. They could have made a lot of money, and I know this. They will not make the same money next year. Harry's 29. This was the perfect time to cash in. They won't. And I tell you, they should have. Because Spurs' team is not that good. They're a 7, 6, or an 8. One in there. But they're not top 4. Anyway, Harry staying. The news is done. We didn't expect him to leave when he played, and he didn't. VAR. You haven't seen much on VAR recently. They're keeping all the little, gadgetry and the lines across the screen and everything as much as possible away from you so you can't have any reason to get excited. Watch VAR. They're making mistakes. I think it needs scrapping. Stay with the referee. And as for the new rule changes, Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp is going out of his mind. So is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer up at Manchester United. 2 good coaches, but both of them are well unhappy with what's going on with the new rules. Jurgen Klopp says it's like going back 10 to 15 years. I agree. Some of the challenges I saw on the field last week were just absolutely unbelievable. But I've got to tell you, it looked like old-time football. And people were getting stuck in. And it was exciting. And there was a few challenges that you thought, oh, that's a foul. In the old game, it wasn't. And now, it wasn't a foul today kind of thing. I like the hard challenges. And when it's not a foul, don't call the whistle or don't blow it just because of physical play. I like the new tactic. I think the teams need to get used to it. It will bring a lot more excitement in the game. And it's only the coaches that are going to cry about it. The fans won't cry about it because I was loving it watching it the other day for the few on the weekend and the weekend before. But the coaches don't like it. The fans love it. I say, play to the fans. We need to see some of that stuff. Brentford, you've seen it on the screen. Thomas Frank. Hey, 4 points out of 6 as he starts the season. It's going to be a tough one this weekend. You never know. You never know. I don't expect them to win or draw. I think a loss is on the cards for Brentford this weekend, the first loss of the season. But they've done great. If they can take it to 7 points, they've got 25% of the points nearly that they need to survive after 3 games. I look for Brentford to survive. I really do. I like what I see. The problem with Brentford, little squad. If they get a few injuries, they're going to go down like a freight train, or they're going to go down like a rock tied to a rock. But Brentford, Thomas Frank, 4 points out of 6. He's doing really good. Doing really good. And it's tiny, tiny little ground, Brentford. Also a London club, by the way. Last but not least, Mikel Arteta. Arsenal going up against Man City this weekend. No clues for what's happening there. Definite win for Man City. Definite loss for Arteta again. 3 losses on the trot. I tell you, if it carries on, I called it way before anybody, but he's getting fired before Christmas. How could you keep him? How could you keep him? He's doing nothing. Proves that point that Man City is all about Pep Guardiola. And obviously, Mr. Arteta was made to look really good by flying under the wing of Pep. Now, he's getting found out. Now people see he's not the coach. He talks a nice game, but his team don't play a good game. And they're weak. And I'm telling you this, as a coach, he looks weak on the sideline. He does not give me the impression that he instills any kind of fight or discipline in that team. But all he does is like pretty plays. Pretty plays is killing Arsenal, has been killing Arsenal for years. And I'll tell you again and again and again, they need some meat and some steel in the middle to stop people sitting on the ball. Okay, guys, that's all we've got time for tonight. But get on the scores, take a look, and I'll tell you this much. 3 of my scores each week, you will make money. Take my best 3 scores, put them on your scores, on your little betting slip, and you will make money. I make money. You should make money. We should make money. That's what it's all about.